And now we want to get to this, the fourth and final day of the Republican National Convention.
Donald Trump will take center stage to officially accept the Republican nomination tonight. The former president is expected to make a call for unity across party lines during a speech that he has rewritten since last weekend's assassination attempt. J.D. Vance gave his first address last night since being named Trump's vice presidential running mate. The 39-year-old used his relative youth and backstory to make his case to voters.
To the people of Middletown, Ohio, and all the forgotten communities in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and every corner of our nation, I promise you this: I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is in Milwaukee following every detail. Caitlin, let's talk about Vance's speech last night, because prior to him delivering it, CBS polling showed 47% of registered voters were not sure about him as Trump's running mate. How are people there now feeling about Vance?
Yeah, it's great to be with you from the final day here in Milwaukee. The speech last night was really trying to speak to voters who may not really know much about him. I mean, J.D. Vance, of course, had that best-selling memoir in 2016, Hillbilly Elegy, which was later turned into a movie. But in a political sense, this was a way for him to introduce himself to a broader swath of Americans who are now going to be paying attention to him as the vice presidential candidate. So that polling you mentioned, we're going to have to wait and see kind of whether and how this speech or this presence and this naming of him on the ticket moves the needle in any regard. But what the Trump campaign is hoping is that it speaks specifically to voters in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, where I am. And actually, in his speech last night, J.D. Vance is, of course, a senator from Ohio. He mentioned Michigan and Pennsylvania 5 times each. And that just goes to show how this campaign is really going to be run through those states, trying to shore up that working class base that the campaign wants to shore up, especially since the Biden team has identified those 3 states as their clearest path to victory.
And what's great about having you there, Caitlin, during a week like this is this humanizes the candidates. You get to hear about their bio, their family. Last night, we heard from Trump's son, Don Jr., and his granddaughter, Kai. How is that resonating with people? And talk to us about the strategy there.
Yeah, Errol, she was very well received by this crowd. And this was kind of the first time that we've seen the Trump grandchildren have this kind of presence. And you're right to say that at conventions like this, you often have people who kind of humanize the candidate. In 2016, Ivanka Trump, the former president's daughter, was key to that. She had introduced her father and really tried to speak to those kinds of elements during a very incredibly heated campaign. Fast forward 8 years later, Ivanka Trump is not speaking. Melania Trump is not expected to speak this week, although both of them are expected to be here tonight. You'll likely see them in that family box. So what has kind of taken place of that is this appeal from Trump's granddaughter to kind of try to highlight a different kind of side, they say, that they see from him. But overhanging all of this has been that assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. And you heard his granddaughter, talk about her reaction to that. This is a family affair. There is no doubt about it. Lara Trump, who is the former president's daughter-in-law, is the chairwoman, co-chair of the RNC. And so, we hear Don Jr. and Eric is supposed to speak tonight. They are really a key part of this campaign and will continue moving forward.
And setting aside all the other speakers, the main event is really Donald Trump himself. What can we expect to hear from him?
Yeah, he'll take that stage that you see right behind me later tonight. The intro that you played, you saw Trump walking through the hallway to get to this convention center. He's been doing that every night this week, and he hasn't said a word. And that has been really telling, because every time he enters this arena, he's, the base, which is here, goes wild, really. And so this will be the first time that they actually hear from him in a public setting like this since the assassination attempt. So we've been hearing that the former president has rewritten the speech that he originally planned to give. They are telling us that this will be more about unity, bringing the party, bringing the country together. But it remains to be seen, what it actually will look like, and also whether that, continues beyond Milwaukee. He will campaign with J.D. Vance, his new running mate, later this weekend in Michigan.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns in Milwaukee, the site of the RNC. Thanks, Caitlin. We're, of course, following the RNC for you every step of the way. Special coverage begins on America Decides at 5 p.m. Eastern.